Hey everybody, and welcome back to The Journey. 6 months ago, we took our beloved school bus, the Huckleberry, and we stored it out in California while we slow traveled throughout Europe. And now it's time to work our way back to the old girl and restart bus life all over again. And so, wait. You do know that we live in a school bus, right? You know, all of those miles and iffy overnight parking spots, that questionable build that somebody... You don't know this story? Have I got one to tell you?
Subscribe for more videos.
Yes, friends, our home is a 30-foot ex-school bus that we lovingly call the Huckleberry. Oh, and you get bonus points if you actually know why we named it that way. Comment below. And yes, the Huckleberry is sitting in storage out in Sacramento, California. Now, we think we put it away pretty neatly and cleanly, but the old girl's got over 250,000 miles on her, so no matter how neat and clean you put things away, we're a little worried about what we're going to find when we go back. But we are not there yet, so before any of that can happen, let's go back into the Wayback Machine. Many of you may not remember the Huckleberry. Some of you are kind of new here and you've never even met the old girls. So let's embrace the joys, the struggles, the successes, the lifestyle that was the Huckleberry. I give you our X Day in the Life, Part 1. In just a couple of days, we have to put our beloved bus, the Huckleberry, to sleep. No, wait, I don't mean like put to sleep like taking him to the vet kind of put to sleep. No. We're putting it into long-term storage. For over 2 years now, this has been our home, the Huckleberry. It's carried us back and forth across the United States 5 times to the bottom of Baja and back. But now, it's time to say goodbye. So that's how it ended before we never looked back and just winged our way to Europe. But before that, we had indeed traveled far and wide in our beloved school bus, including spending 4 months down in Baja California, which I'm going to spare you a lot of. But if you're interested, there is a playlist up here. Oh, and by the way, Baja's not over with yet, but more on that later. Oh, but adventures we did have, like when we first started and when we almost died in that state park. I am spending 4 nights here in what has been called the Forest of Death. I hope I survive. Hi, I'm Rick, and everything that I just told you is pretty much a lie. Although, let's call it a creative fabrication. It sounds better that way. Anyway, yes, indeed, I am sitting in the middle of nowhere, a state forest. I can't pronounce the name of something like Waka-Chukka-Cho. Anyway, I am miles and miles away from everything. There's no way Uber Eats is showing up here. There's no way I'm going to go get gas, food, water, whatever it is. We had to bring it with us. All the energy is coming from the sun. All the water is in our tank. This is what we wanted to build that bus for, was to get off-road, off-grid, boondocking, just to kind of experience nature. This is the first time we're doing it. Yeah, learning how to boondock and live in bus life. It was kind of interesting, but we did get better at it. So today, everything changed. It was this point in land where you crossed over and all of a sudden, nothing was the same. And I couldn't wait to park here and kind of tell you about it. But first, we got to get some panels set up because I don't know how much electricity we got left. Today is my birthday. And yeah, by the way, be thankful that you don't get to wake up next to this. I wanted to spend my birthday in the kitschiest place possible. So we went to Roswell, New Mexico, because nothing is kitschier than this. Okay, here's a fun fact that you don't know about bus life. We don't shower every day. We don't shower every other day. Well, we kind of wait until we're 1 day away from stinking, and then we come up to a Planet Fitness, which you can't see. It's right there. That's where we're going. I'm going to try to sneak you in. Don't peek if you see other people. Okay, this is the part where you and I have to part ways for a little bit. We'll see when we're done. Okay, this is the 3rd Planet Fitness that we've been to that has no hot water. It's refreshing. But we are getting well ahead of ourselves. You want to know, how do we even get here? We have almost 1,000 miles to go on our maiden voyage, and this bus has no heat. Doesn't that sound like a lot of fun? Hi, I'm Rick, and you are watching Running with Spoons. Yeah, Running with Spoons. How do I explain that? Back in the day, I changed the name of the channel a lot, including to Running with Spoons. Just go with it. It's a name that's not coming back. We're taking an untested 15-year-old school bus, one which I, a man with two left hands, crafted himself on a 993-mile road trip down to Miami. It ain't gonna be easy. There's gonna be problems because like I said, I built this thing. So yeah, we finished building out the basics of the Huckleberry in a couple of months up in Virginia, but it started getting really, really cold. So we took what we had and we drove down to Florida where we're going to finish out the build. Only we never quite made it out of the state. 2 hours down the road and this happened. I got to pick up a $500 part, but guess what? They closed at 3. And it's Friday. They don't open again until Monday. This is not an auspicious start for this trip. Not at all. For $500, I really expected a bigger box. $500 part right there. Thank God he knows what he's doing. Otherwise, I don't know what that would cost. So we started overheating, and badly. The kind of overheating where we had to stop, I don't know how many times, just on that little short ride back to my daughter's house, where my son-in-law, the bus mechanic, was waiting to try to figure out what the hell was going on. It turned out that while we indeed had one very bad expensive part, that wasn't the real problem. Our overheating was due to, well, it took us a while to find out the real problem. Well, one of the real problems. Because you see, the overheating, it wasn't the end. It did not finish in Virginia. It haunted us for quite a while to go. Works as designed. It was supposed to overheat. So this engine from a 2008 International school bus was designed to not go very fast. In fact, it had a limiter on it, 55 miles an hour top. That's as fast as you were allowed to go. Well, I told my son-in-law to change it. He said it's 70. Well, this engine transmission, it was never meant to do 70 miles an hour, which is why it was overheating. If I want to keep it from going everywhere, I gotta drive like it was intended to drive. So yep, when you try to hack the system, a bad juju happens. But yeah, we did actually manage after a few days to get rolling, and we even managed to make it down to Florida. But remember, we had never done this before. We had never driven such a large beast, such a large distance, and we were still kind of reeling from the fact that, you know, maybe things weren't quite right, but we did have several stops planned along the way, including this really, really great one down in South Carolina. When last we left our intrepid explorers, they were neck deep in a very expensive, trip-ending mechanical nightmare. Could they make it the 993 long and hard miles to Miami before the deep winter freeze canceled everything? Yeah, we managed to get rolling about 3 weeks late and about $1,000 lighter, but nothing in life is good without a little bit of suffering. Speaking of suffering, have you ever lived with somebody in a 7-foot wide, cold metal bus, pooping in what's best described as a human kitty litter box? Okay, here's the first thing. Everybody thinks when they get a bus, oh, it'll be so cozy, it'll be so romantic. Look at her smiling. No, what it means is you're inside of a 7-foot little boxy tube trying to scoot by each other all the time. You learn where the nooks and crannies are. You learn where you can get your fat, wide butt, or at least my big, fat, wide butt, out of the way so somebody can pass. It's not a bad existence, but it is not a, oh, I'll just walk around the other hallway existence. You get used to it. Gin and tonics help. Nikki is having a field day at our second Harvest Host site. It's at a place called Maybrit. I don't remember the name. I apologize, host, because I suck with names. I will put some links up for this. Anyway, this is a farm, a natural farm where they grow turmeric and elderberries and all kinds of things that are supposed to be healthy for you. She just walked by with handfuls of green vegetables and turmeric. I don't know what she's got, but she's actually talking about staying an extra night here just so she can enjoy the farm. I guess it's all part of Skoolie life travel, right? Be flexible. So maybe I'll just drink while she does the farming.
But it's those buttons, and the water comes out, and what that also serves for.
But continue we did, and on to Florida we went, and all along the way, we just got a little skoshi bit more comfortable each and every day with driving, with living the lifestyle. And we even managed to start a list of all the mistakes that we had made already that we might want to address in the future. Oh, and speaking of not knowing what we didn't know, We have Patreon, in case you didn't know that. Now, I'm not going to bore you in this video, at least, with all of the things that we do need to change in the bus once we get back, but I'm going to give you a little short explanation litany over on Patreon. It is absolutely free. Head on over, and you too can discover, well, all the mistakes I just talked about. Okay, here's the deal. The big mistake that we made was we didn't quite think through how we were going to use the space. So we put 2 chairs, we stole them from our trailer that we were living in up in Virginia, and we just sort of slapped them in facing each other, put some seatbelts on them, and decided we were going to take a table and put it in the middle. Well, it didn't work. Yeah, this is where Nikki sits when I'm driving. This is where we were trying to have dinner. It's very, very uncomfortable. So yeah, we took everything out. We're going to put a futon in. I don't know if that's the right answer. The big mistake we figured out was that we don't know what we don't know. And we're going to get to, well, what we know after we use this thing for a while. And I don't think 8 days is enough to tell us exactly what we want. And I'm looking over your shoulder because I see mistake 3.5. Apparently my ceiling's falling in. I have heard tall tale of there being strange hot springs here in Baja California. The kind of strange hot springs that live inside of the ocean. And the stories speak of tides. How as the ocean recedes, the temperature in these hot springs becomes so brutal that no human can survive. Yeah, I know. I said I wasn't going to spoil Baja for you, but I guess I kind of have to. You see, one of the big reasons that we wanted to do bus life were festivals, like a time we went down to Baja for Escapar.
2 butts enter, 1 butt leaves. And there is a prize for the final butt standing.
Gaze at the moon till I lose my senses, and I can't look at hovels, and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in, just give me land, lots of land under starry skies. Don't fence me in.
So, butt fights. Yeah, it's a thing. And yes, I signed up for it, representing all of us older men who no longer have a butt. Now, there were a lot of great and very worthy competitors. And then there was me. So, did I win? Well, stay tuned. Escapar is this yearly event of nomadic type people in all types of vehicle persuasions. You got your van lifers, you got your bus lifers, RVs, you name it, you probably got it down there. And it's an event that we truly hope to get back to this year. Now, the way we heard about Escapar was by being in another event called Skoolie Palooza, which was kind of, at least for me, the exact opposite of Escapar. You know, every swing of the bat can't be a hit and a home run. I went to Skoolie Palooza because I wanted to get a taste of true nomadic life, because I live in a school bus. And honestly, I absolutely loved it. Right up until the moment that I absolutely hated it. I mean, absolutely hated it to the point where I had to make a choice of either going to jail or packing up and leaving. And I'll skip to the punchline. We chose to leave for reasons I can't really explain until first. Tell you what Skoolie Palooza is all about. You see, while there was a lot of goodness, there was also a lot of conflicts. For starters, Skoolie Palooza is 1000% raw. The organizer actually described it very well. It's feral. There is absolutely nothing polished about it. Yeah, I mean, there are some great people there, but the landscape, the environment that you're in, it's pretty desolate. Oh, and then there was, I don't know if you can hear all that over there, every night when the sun sets, the natives begin to howl. Okay, maybe the word terrorism's a little bit overblown, but then again, maybe not. Rumor has it that a individual has parked a van over near the Welcome Center group circle, and he played his music at full blast all night long, right up until 6 a.m. Every single person I met as I was walking around today asked me the same question. How'd you sleep last night? How did you sleep last night? Now me, I'm lucky. Apparently I can sleep through a hurricane and an earthquake all combined into one. Most people did not. Most people are sort of thinking of pushing themselves off to the edges because there's parties and then there's that. The long story short is that there are actually two groups called Skoolie Palooza, and they're not exactly fans of each other. And in fact, the one group decided to infiltrate our group and try to make it as inhumanely bad of an experience as you possibly could. I mean, it got to the point, especially after the Grand Pirate Ship DJ, we actually had to move about a mile down the road just to get the hell away from the chaos. But honestly, it wasn't all that bad. Bus life is not all that bad. Usually it's pretty normal, only different. This week, we're talking number 2. Life is different in a converted school bus. Things are smaller and tighter. Everything that you were taught to do is now slightly different. Like, you can't go poop the way you were taught as a toddler. I can't. Yep, we're going there. It's time for potty humor. Actually, this is a very serious thing in bus life. There's a lot of ways of handling waste. You can get a $1,000 composting toilet, little on the expensive side. You can go the RV route with a black water tank and what almost looks like a real toilet that you kind of almost flush like a normal real toilet. There are even incinerating toilets. Yes, you can have a crapper in your bus that burns your poo into a little crisp and you just sort of scatter the ashes like a dead loved one. And then there was our choice. This is our bathroom. Looks a little bit like an outhouse, doesn't it? So, little hard to film in here. It's kind of a tight space, but yep, we've got a big box with a lid and a bucket with a, well, I'll have to describe what that thing is later. We also have a big thing of, let's just put this whole thing together and then you'll get an idea of what it is we got to do and where we got to do it. And voila, an indoor outhouse that you can't pee in. Yep, you can't pee in it. That's difference number 1 when it comes to composting toilet. That's the magic that keeps composting toilets working. The theory is if you keep your dry, then it won't smell so bad. So you pee in this thing, this little piece of molded plastic. It's called a diverter. So what it does is it whisks your pee away down a clear plastic tube somewhere under the bus, and I'm not entirely sure yet exactly where it goes, but it doesn't go in your poo. Now in an ironic turn of events, guys apparently have it a little easier when it comes to this diverter. Less aim is required for us. Women, according to close sources, have a harder time because you gotta scoot, you gotta move, and apparently you gotta have a little bit less power in your stream. And I'm not going to give you an educational video on that. So yeah, we have a human kitty litter box, but something that we have been using with quite a lot of success. And if you want to know the truth, I was arguing for the $1,000 composting toilet. I'm glad Nikki talked me into the $5 Lowe's bucket, actually. We have a composting toilet, which is essentially a human kitty litter box. What you do is, I'm not going to show you because it's kind of nasty in there right now. Basically, there's a bucket with a toilet seat on it. You do your thing, and then you put this stuff on top of it. It's shavings. It's, I don't know, it's like if you took a plane and just sort of took a piece of plywood and shaved it off. This is what you throw on top of it. Now, the idea is this absorbs all of the wetness in what you threw into the bus. The problem is this stuff gets everywhere, and I do mean everywhere. It goes everywhere except where you want it to go. So the entire bus inside has this stuff all over the carpet, all over the floor, all over you, all over the microphone that you can't see. Now, the other problem is when the bus is shaking, rattling, and rolling, this stuff does manage to come loose and expose. That's probably a story that you don't want to hear. We are going to learn how to experiment with other forms of stuff. Peat moss, I don't know what. We got to find the right media to throw down on top of our Hershey chocolate bars so that A, it doesn't stink anymore, B, it dries out, and C, I don't have to vacuum every 30 seconds. Okay, so maybe the whole bathroom situation is still a work in progress. We're taking a school bus and we're going to turn it into our dream home. But in order to do that, we've got to remove everything that makes it a school bus. Seats, walls, ceiling, floor, everything. Ow, that son of a... Oh, and to make things a little more interesting, we only have a week to turn this thing into a blank canvas. Hi, I'm Rick, and in this week, we bring on the destruction. Long and hard about what we're going to do on day 3. I can put the camera in here and I can show you more destruction, more sparks, more of me hurting myself when things fall on my head. But no, I'm going to take a quick break. I want to show you exactly what it is we're building in here. Let's start in the back of the bus, back where the bedroom is. Now, this entire area all through here is going to be bedroom. Actually, about half of the bus is going to be bedroom. Why? Because we want a separate room, because it's kind of an important room. Okay, let's talk insulation. This is rock wool insulation. We were originally going to do those green foam boards that you sort of put up on the wall, but we needed 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and the stuff is ungodly expensive. If we're going to pay that much, we might as well go for this, because trusted sources tell me this is the highest R value. What is it? I don't know, because I've already cleaned up and I threw away the bags, but it's really high, trust me. Hi, I'm Rick, and in this week, I am going to put my limited plumbing skills to the test. God, I hope that works. That's almost exactly where I want it to be. Oh, good, it does turn. I was actually wondering if it allowed you to turn once you pop it in. Now, it is very important when you put a pump in that you got it pumping the right direction. There are arrows on this thing, and they point this way, which is why I got the strainer on here to sort of remind me. The idea is I'm going to, let me spin you around so you can see. The idea is the water line is going to come up and loop around into the pump, and then into the accumulator. By the way, this accumulator is non-directional. It doesn't matter where you put it. And then I'm going to have the water line go back out. Okay, that is seriously enough of that. A, I did not know how to make a YouTube video yet. And B, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, here's a playlist for you. But for now, while bus life has been so incredibly rewarding and joyful, so, we screwed up. I mean, we really screwed up. We're trying like hell to get out to the Bay Area, to the West Coast, to celebrate the holidays with family, but because of a series of rather unfortunate events, I don't know how we're going to make it. Hi, I'm Rick. Welcome back to the journey. Yeah, we live inside of a 30-foot converted school bus, and as we drive around the country, well, sometimes we park in really nice places. Sometimes we park in this. And then there was this.
There is no sign that says we could stay, but we are allowed to stay because I can see trucks, I can see RVs, I can see a Skoolie.
If we get the knock on the door, which we won't, well, we'll just tell them we'd love to leave Texas, but you won't let us. I don't want to be in Texas anymore. But I do want to go to the redneck conservative saloon in there. I'm going to bring a camera. I got to see what it's like.
I'm not going with you because you can hear my accent.
Yeah, they're going to go, hey, what kind of Mexican are you? Then the whole fight will start.
Bueno, you go on to your own, just be back.
So, this is us tonight. Wish us luck. Okay, Nikki really did decline to go to the saloon up here, but I gotta know. I gotta know. Yep, sometimes you just drink one and you run the hell away. Just be thankful I did not share the one stop at the biker place where there were thousands of MAGA flags and banners just waving in the wind. We were there for 3 days. But this is not a political channel. Let's get back to the problems. You remember all the talk about the overheating? Well, it didn't end in Virginia. Today is the big day. We finally made it to Tucson, Arizona. We've been overheating for, well, a couple of months now, and we finally crawled our way here to, well, a truck repair shop. And we're going to find out if they can actually fix the Huckleberry. Now, there's a lot of good news, bad news kind of things going on. Let's go inside first, find out what they can do, if they can do it, and then, well, we'll take the story from there. How you doing? I called last week. We have a school bus that's overheating, and you all said to bring it in today. Oh, okay, cool. So what else do you need from me?
Signature and an email if I can.
Probably should get you a key, right?
Oh, yeah. That's
That would be helpful. Be right back. Okay, so they gave us a quote. They gave us an estimate. They told us what's wrong with it, which made sense. The number on this seat doesn't make sense. I gotta call my son-in-law, the bus mechanic, because we gotta discuss this. Day 4, and we are coming to the end of the saga. Well, almost the end. There's a little asterisk we got to discuss in a minute. We are back from Mexico here in Tucson, and we have the bus, obviously, because we're sitting in it. I want to give you a little recap of the turmoil that we've been through the past few days, a recap of the cost. Dear God, I'm still whimpering from that. We had 3 things that went wrong. One, we decided not to do because it was really damn expensive. We had the oil pressure sensor replaced, the thing that was making our gauge just go completely wonky crazy, and we never knew if we actually had oil or not. The radiator was the big one. As you know, if you've been following this for any length of time, we have been having a lot of overheating issues in this bus. Always have. But once we get out here in the altitude in the mountains, it became really critical. We have bigger mountains yet to climb, and we barely made it over the last few. We replaced the radiator. What they said was there was clogs in it, and the top and the bottom were basically, well, they weren't flowing the same rate. So they say it's fixed. Tomorrow we find out. You want to know how much it costs? So I need to put this into a little bit of perspective before I read you the number. Bear in mind that when we bought this bus, we paid $7,000 for it. $7,000 for a running, functional, completely working bus. Now, before we said no to replacing the airbags in the back, the price they wanted was basically the same. To repair 3 things, they wanted the same price as we paid for the entire bus. Well, we said no to the $2,000 airbag things. We can limp along with them for a while, but to replace a sensor and to replace a radiator cost, you ready for this? $4,500. Yeah, the joys of bus life. When your car breaks down, I mean, you have a lot of places you can go to. When your bus breaks down, truck mechanics are few and far between, and they often work on fleets, which means they work for corporations who can afford to work on. It's a very, very expensive process, which is why we are a little bit worried that when we go back to the Huckleberry, that maybe some problem crept up while we were gone, and it's going to cost us a lot of frickin' money. I have ridden camels in the Sahara Desert. I have traveled the world and seen things amazing to see, but nothing has prepared me for this, for where I am now, the vastness, the beauty, and the fear. Today we are heading up into the Mule Mountains of Arizona. This is the story of me being humbled and overwhelmed and being completely unprepared for any of it.
Hello?
Yeah, hi. Taxi service? Do you go up into the mountains? I'm just going to wait for the airplane to go by. The good news is the radiator was indeed fixed, and we managed to mountain our way up and down with rarely a problem. And between there and Baja California, we explored so many places in the Southwest, New Mexico, Arizona, Utah. It was gorgeous, the vastness and the emptiness and the beauty. You see, I'm from the East Coast. I didn't know that such a thing existed, but it was just a gorgeous way of living in a bus. So what shall we discuss first, the good or the bad? Well, let's start with the good because the bad is kind of, we'll save that for in a little bit. I was just telling Nikki the other day that I have never been in the American Southwest before, and I am amazed, gobsmacked, just astounded at how beautiful it is. Now, I've watched Hollywood movies. I've watched John Wayne tearing off into the sunset, rescuing whoever he was rescuing. But it doesn't do it. Hollywood does not do it justice. No matter how big of a screen you're looking at it on, it is so much bigger in person. And when I was telling Nikki this, we were driving along and I couldn't come up with a word. I was thinking inconsequential, small, diminutive, and she sort of threw out from the back, humble. And it's exactly the way this place makes you feel. It's desolate, it's barren, dust storms pop up all the time. It's 90 degrees during the day and it's about 40 degrees at night. You would not think that somebody would call this place beautiful, but I am so taken by it. Let me spin you around so you can actually see my face. It's getting kind of dark out here. It makes you feel something. Now, that's also a bad side. There's also a real downside to wandering around in utter desolation, and I don't mean, not having enough water and then you die somewhere under a cactus. No. There's a real big, deep downside. But I'm going to have to wait till tomorrow to tell you because I really want to put together some thoughts on that one. And I may need to have a couple drinks tonight to kind of make sure I do it right. Oh, sorry, that's a bit of a cliffhanger. I didn't mean to leave it in this video, but the whole first part of it was just too good to pass up. So yeah, that's us. That's the life that we left behind and the life that we're heading back to. It's going to take us a little while to get there. Maybe a few weeks, maybe 2 if we can compress and compact some chores and errands that we're working on here in Miami. But once we get back, it's kind of going to be like starting all over again. I mean, we haven't done this for a long time. We don't know what's waiting for us with the bus, or we're going to have to do maintenance, mechanical issues. There's a whole lot of things that we need to do to the bus to make it actually more enjoyable and livable. And we got to figure out which way we want to point our noses, or at least the nose of the bus, because so many more adventures await. But those are stories for other videos. Thanks for watching. Oh, there you go. I finally found the view and the sun's going to completely blot it out. That is the old Baja Railroad Bridge. That is a whole bunch of water threatening to swamp me. Wow.